There are a lot of things that I involve myself in, and I had the pleasure of meeting your instructor, Hall, on LinkedIn, which when you all are, I guess, depending on if you're freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, when you start to put yourself out into the ether for potential jobs or scholarships for higher education, I highly recommend that platform. It allows you access to a lot of professionals in the space that that could definitely expedite your career trajectory. So, white hat, black hat, gray hat, red team, blue team, purple team. You've heard the labels, right? But in all of that, who are you? I looked at some of the responses from your counter team, who I spoke to earlier in the week, and they ran the gamut in terms of what they want for their entry-level position. Have you given it some thought? And do you have an answer for me? If today you could wave a magic wand and you had an entry-level position, what would it be? Will you put that in the chat for me, for those of you that are on a computer console? Giving you a minute. Food. I was reading the other day about automation in fast food. I think COVID has expedited a lot, but definitely robotics and animation in fast food is happening right before our eyes. I didn't know if you meant like chef or like you want to eat for a living. That's an option too. So thanks for that answer. There are a lot of work roles that you'll find as a part of cybersecurity career pathways. I'm sure your program has exposed you to tools like CyberSeek through NIST. And there's always the traditional Indeed.com or Monster.com. But I want to make it clear that who you are in all of this is not the job, is not even the career. There's more to it. So I wanted to come and talk to you today about being a leader. As a matter of fact, the title of this talk is The Leader Among Us, because I want to know, is it you? I know you've heard of Hidden Figures, right? There was a movie about it, the human computers and NASA, but who are these hidden figures? Because sometimes hidden figures, they're hidden. They're actually hidden behind like NASA walls and some of the programs that are top secret. Like I said, the secret squirrel stuff, but sometimes hidden figures are right in front of you. It's the lens that you use that makes all the difference. Here's a mnemonic that in the Army we use to memorize, then recite, then commit to memory our Army values. The mnemonic is leadership: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. The intention is that through indoctrination, we live these values. And I'm here to tell you that once I started living these values, I haven't been able to figure out how to unlive them yet. So when I talk to scholars like you about your future, whether that's direct to the workforce or higher education, then the workforce, what comes to mind for me is Dr. Seuss. I think about Dr. Seuss. He was born in 1904. All the places you will go. This book concerns the journey of life and its challenges. Leadership. And I have to say as a disclaimer, I don't speak on behalf of the Department of Defense, the United States Army, or any of its sister branches or entities. But I have, as a veteran and a currently serving service member, adopted these values and have a little of my own spin on the definition of the letters of the mnemonic. So, the definition of loyalty: to bear true faith and allegiance to the US Constitution, your family, and fellow Americans. For me, this really matters, especially when we start to talk about things like the fourth industrial revolution, AI, VR, XR, AR, cloud computing, systems integration. I'm not sure if you've heard of this yet, but model-based systems engineering, things like big data, autonomous robots like the kind that make food for us. So these fourth industrial revolution ideals are something that you can't get yourself lost in the sea of. Who are you? Our definition of duty is to fulfill your obligations. So before, I mentioned Dr. Seuss. This man that wrote The Cat in the Hat and How the Grinch Stole Christmas was a soldier in the United States Army Signal Corps, the same branch that I'm currently serving in. Theodore Seuss. He started out as an artist for the Treasury Department and the War Production Board. He drew posters, but he wanted to do more, so he commissioned as an officer, and he was put in command of the U.S. Army's animation department. He's credited with a comic strip, Snafu, Situation Normal, All Fouled Up. That's where he used limited vocabulary and rhyme to communicate messages to the lower enlisted service members. In his autobiography, he shared that December of 1944, he was trapped 10 miles behind enemy lines during the Battle of the Bulge in Nazi Germany. So he left the Army in 1946, having attained the rank of lieutenant colonel. Then he took what he learned with him. He took that leadership with him and he shared it with the world. Did you know that about Dr. Seuss? The definition of respect. Treat people as they should be treated. Then there's selfless service, putting the welfare of the nation before your own. The definition of honor is to live up to these values. We all fall short of the glory, right? What we want you to do is get up and try again, because as battle buddies, we're here for each other. Then there's integrity, doing what's right legally and morally, and personal courage. That's to face fear, danger, or adversity. That's physical or moral. I'm proud to have adopted and adapted these values to my mission with the Third Lieutenant podcast, and I'd like you to consider adopting them too. If you're ready, there's a lot of ways you can get in. There's a lot of ways that you can serve your country, and that's not necessarily to enlist or to be in uniform or to be a contractor or to even be a govy, as we call them, government contractors. I know for many of you, hopes for working for three little organizations, right, are in your future plans. But I want you to at least recognize that this man and his thoughts on leadership have been close to you for a very long time through literature. Now, did you know that the creators of the Cyber Patriot program that you're a part of, the United States Air Force, was founded the very year after Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Seuss left the Army? So where did the Air Force come from? Does anyone know? Bueller? Fly, fight, win. The National Security Act of 1947 created the United States Air Force, but it went through a few iterations before it landed there. It actually started out August 1st of 1907 to 1914 as the Aeronautical Division of the U.S. Army Signal Corps. Then it became the aviation section of the Signal Corps until 1918. Then in 1918, it went through a really brief stint as a division of military aeronautics. And then it became the Air Service of the U.S. Army from 1918 to 1926. Then the U.S. Army Air Corps, that's from 1926 to 1941, before becoming the U.S. Army Air Forces. That was from 1941 to 1947. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because of the blue pickles. The military caste system was alive and well in the 1940s. The Army Air Corps of the 1940s required pilot trainees to be at least 21 years of age and have 2 years of college because they were supposed to be commissioned upon graduation. But the demands of World War II outpaced the manpower available. So the then chief of the U.S. Army Air Corps, General H.H. Arnold, supported an idea of training enlisted men with high school diplomas to be sergeant pilots. Now, this was followed by Congress's authorization of the grade of sergeant pilot. After the events of Pearl Harbor, with a desperate need for trained pilots, Congress authorized the creation of a new grade above the enlisted ranks, but below that of a second lieutenant. On July 8, 1942, Public Law 658 established the grade of flight officer. 3 weeks later, headquarters notified all commanders that it is the desire of the commanding general of the Army Armed Forces to these new flight officers that they be accepted in the nature of third lieutenants and be treated in accordance with all the customs and courtesies of the military service pertaining to commissioned officers. That's respect, treating people as they should be treated. When it was time to pin these newly commissioned officers, there was no insignia available, no rank to pin on their shoulders. So they created a makeshift insignia by dipping the warrant officers' brown bars in blue paint to wear with their uniforms known as pinks and greens. At the age of 17, I enlisted in the Army National Guard as a 74 Bravo. That's a computer systems analyst. As a cadet, I participated in drill team, rifle team, and color guard. We were the honor unit with distinction multiple years in a row, and I had the fortune of receiving my private pilot's license before I had a driver's license. I am the third lieutenant. I attended basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and advanced individual training at Fort Gordon as a part of the Signal Corps. I received my bachelor's in mass communications with a concentration in radio and television from the illustrious University by the Sea, Savannah State University. Then I received my master's degree in cybersecurity and information assurance from Penn State. We are. I'm currently a contractor for the Department of the Navy. I'm also a battalion communications staff officer for the oldest and longest running infantry division in the Department of Defense, the Iron Division. So for me, it's only up from here, right? This coming July, I'll celebrate my 1-year anniversary of the Third Lieutenant podcast, and I invite you as a growing communications professional, as a growing cybersecurity professional, to join me. I'm here today to talk to you about the leader among us. I want to take some questions, and then I want to ask some questions. So I'm going to stop sharing.